Insanity is literally doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I realized that I was pretty much insane. Going back to the same habits, going back to the same people, going back to the same things, expecting things to be different, expecting my life to be different. And I had to get to a point where I was like, I gotta let some of this stuff go, or I'm never gonna be where I wanna be. Hey girl, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Trinity, and today we are finally going to be getting back into our sit down chit chat videos, and we're going to be discussing something that has been an ongoing theme in my life for the past few months, but I've been documenting it here on YouTube for the past month and a half or so. Today I'm going to be sharing with you lessons that I've learned while rebuilding my life at the age of 29. As many of you may or may not know, I paused my regular chit chat videos a few months ago, not a few months ago, maybe in like July, the end of July, because I was just in a space where I did not feel like I was in a position to give any type of advice or guidance to anyone. Like, let's just be real, that's really how I felt, full transparency. I felt like my life was in shambles. And I'm not gonna lie, I was experiencing a whole lot of imposter syndrome for the first time probably ever. I was at a point where I didn't really know exactly what I was doing with my life. I didn't know exactly what my goals were anymore because a lot of things had changed for me. A lot of my desires had changed, a lot of my goals had changed, a lot of my interests had changed. So I decided to start a vlog series titled Rebuilding My Life at 29, just so that I could actually show you guys exactly what I was doing to get my life back together. It's not together 100% now, but I've been actively working on this for a good enough amount of time that I can share with you some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned during this time. With all the things going on in the world right now, I know that there are so many other people who feel the same way I feel. There are so many other people who are having such a hard time right now, whether it be financially, emotionally, spiritually, with relationships. I don't know. There are so many people who are just dealing with a lot right now. So I know a lot of people are in a space where they want to start over and rebuild. So if you're in that season of your life, I hope this video makes you feel seen, validated, and more than anything, hopeful for the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, before we get into the lessons, I want to thank today's sponsor, ZocDoc, which honestly couldn't be more on theme for this video, because one of the biggest parts of rebuilding my life so far has been taking better care of myself inside and out. As many of you may know, I'm super consistent with working out and eating relatively well, but taking care of my body looks like a little bit more than that these days. Lately, I've been very intentional about prioritizing checkups that I used to put off and just simply listening to my body more. If you've ever tried to find a doctor of any kind, you know just how stressful it can be. Endless online searches, not knowing who accepts your insurance, waiting months for an appointment, and that is why I love ZocDoc. The free website where you can easily search and compare high quality in-network doctors so you can find the right doctor for you. No guessing, no phone calls, no confusion. When you find the right doctor that works for you, you just click a button to instantly book an appointment. ZocDoc makes it super easy to book in-network appointments with over 100,000 healthcare providers on the site. I actually discovered ZocDoc a few years ago when I was kicked off my mom's insurance and had to find my own insurance, which of course meant I had to find a new PCP, new GYN, just new doctors, period. I started off on ZocDoc looking for a new PCP, and I was able to filter my search based on specialty, preferred location, reviews and ratings, and medical needs. And what I loved the most was that I was actually able to score an appointment the very next day with a new PCP who made me feel seen and heard. ZocDoc appointments happen pretty fast, typically between 24 and 72 hours of booking. No need to call them doctor's offices and be on hold forever, because ZocDoc lets you do everything online. Once you find the doctor you need, you're able to see his or her actual appointment openings, choose a time that works for you, and instantly book an appointment with just a few clicks. So if you're on your rebuilding journey and want to stop putting off those doctor's appointments, go to ZocDoc.com/trending topic, also linked in the description, to find and instantly book a top rated doctor today. Okay, now the first and probably the most important lesson is that you are constantly going to be rebuilding your life. This is not just a one-time thing. If you're in the season right now where you are starting over, rebuilding, whatever you want to call it, just know that this is not going to be the last time you have to do this. I had gone through multiple different phases of my life before turning 29 where I had experienced like depression, and which is very down in the dumps, and had to kind of pull myself out of a hole. But I feel like this was the first time I ever really got to a point where I was like, I don't want any of this anymore. Like, I literally looked around and thought about all the things that I was doing at the time, all the things I was experiencing at the time, all the things I liked at the time, and I just said to myself, like, I don't want any of this anymore. I need something different. Like, something has to change. I really need to do like a whole 180. I don't think I'd ever gotten to that point before, where I had things that I once wanted, like things that I once prayed for, and I had finally realized, like, I've outgrown all of this stuff. And after being in that mode for a little while, it hit me one day, like, yeah, you feel like you're experiencing like a rebirth right now, but this is not gonna be the last time you have to do this. You're gonna have to do this plenty more times. Yeah, you might be feeling like this because you're about to enter your 30s next year, but when you hit your 40s, you're probably gonna deal with the same thing. When you hit your 50s, you're probably gonna deal with the same thing, and maybe even other times in between that. And that's because different seasons of your life, different levels of your life require different versions of you. You're going to have to shed so many things. You're going to have to let go of so many different things. You're going to have to become a new version of yourself to step into so many other seasons of your life in the future. And God will make it so that you know it's time to rebuild, so that you know it's time to start over, because he'll make you so uncomfortable with all the things around you so that you can finally be like, something does not feel right. Like, I don't like this. I'm tired of all of this. I need new everything. And lately I've just really been leaning into that, and I have accepted the fact that this is going to be a reoccurring thing. Nothing is forever. You're going to constantly be wanting new, letting go, and it really does not benefit you at all to fight that and to try to hold on to things for your whole life, things that don't serve you, things that do nothing for you, or things that maybe once did do something for you but don't work for you in this next season of your life. Number 2, things fall apart before they come together. If you've been following my Rebuilding at 29 series, the vlog series, you know that I expressed in one of the most recent vlogs that as soon as I started the series, my life started to take a shift. Like, my life started to go in a more positive direction, and for a second it kind of discouraged me from continuing on with the series, but then it hit me like, your life is taking a turn because you were obedient to what God was telling you to do. God wanted you to share your experience. He wanted you to talk about what you were going through, how you were getting closer to him. And I realized that everything in my life had to fall apart in order for me to build something better. And I know we hate that. Like, we hate the fact that things have to crumble in order for something better to be birthed, but it is what it is. And if I'm being honest, I know for a fact that I wouldn't really appreciate a lot of the things that I have right now had I not experienced the season that I just came out of, or the season that I am coming out of, because I'm not totally out of it yet. There are so many lessons that you learn when you are down, like when you're at rock bottom. You learn so much during those times, so much stuff that prepares you for the season that you're waiting to walk into. I always say that the journey is so much more important than the destination. Everyone wants to go from point A to point Z overnight, and nobody wants to deal with what comes in between that. Nobody wants to deal with B through Y and the trials and the tests and the struggles that come during those times. You learn how to manage your money the best when you have no money. When you are at rock bottom, broke, when you scrambling for money before you go to the grocery store, like, those are the times where you really learn how to manage money. Everybody wants a nice relationship, nice healthy relationship, but you learn more about yourself when you're by yourself. When you're in that isolation season, when you're in that lonely season, you learn so many lessons that prepare you for that relationship that you want. Sometimes God literally has to let things fall apart so that you can be well equipped for the things that you're praying for, the things that you're asking for. So a lot of us be praying for things that we ain't even really ready for. Like, be honest. The things that you're praying for, things that you've been praying for the last few months or so, really be honest with yourself and ask yourself, if God gave that to me right now, am I 100% sure that I wouldn't blow it? Am I 100% sure that I would really know how to handle it so that I can keep it? I remember right before I started the series, actually, I was having a conversation with my mom. I think this was actually the day that I started filming the vlog series. My mom was like, I just feel like God is about to do something crazy in your life. Like, he has to be doing something. There's a reason why he's letting all this bad stuff happen. There's a reason why he's letting all this stuff fall apart. And I just kept telling myself, like, you just gotta keep pushing through, because this is preparing you for something. Number 3, sometimes you are the problem. Yeah, I said it. You probably don't have anybody else who's gonna tell you that, but you're probably the problem in your situation. I always tell y'all this. Yes, sometimes things happen to you that are out of your control. Yes, sometimes it is the other person's fault. But if you sit in that forever, you will never get anywhere. And if you can never look at your situation and say to yourself, this is the part I'm playing in this, you'll never get out of that situation. Your life will never change if you cannot take accountability. And that's not to say that you are the reason why someone's treating you a certain way, or you're the reason why somebody's doing certain things to you, but maybe the accountability you need to take is the fact that your self-esteem is low. You don't value yourself enough. You don't love yourself enough. You keep letting people treat you like trash. You don't know how to walk away. You don't know how to detach. You let your fear of loneliness keep you in situations for too long. Sometimes accountability looks like that. I think when a lot of us hear accountability, we think, oh, it's my fault. It doesn't necessarily have to be your fault, but there is something you can do to change the situation. There's always something you can do. Now, in my situation, as I've been rebuilding, I have realized that there are a lot of ways that I'm the problem. I've had to take accountability in a lot of areas. One specifically being that I am not disciplined. Like, I'm just not. And I mean, I've gotten better over the months, but that is probably my number one problem. And no, that problem does not solve everything I'm dealing with at the moment, but it will cure a lot of my stress. Like, if I really locked in and stayed focused and stayed on task every day, if I did all the things that I said I was gonna do, I would be unstoppable. Like, I was talking to my cousin the other day and I was telling her how certain things aren't really going the way I want them to go. And I told her, like, I know if I do this and if I do this, I can shift things a little bit. And she was like, that's the thing about you. You always know what you need to do. You just gotta do it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Because I do always know what to do. I'm very self-aware. I'm always able to sit back and notice and realize where I'm going wrong or things I could be doing better. I just have to do those things. Sometimes you just gotta lock in and do it. And I'm constantly giving myself reality checks like, girl, if you want different results, you're gonna have to do different things. Insanity is literally doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I realized that I was pretty much insane. Going back to the same habits, going back to the same people, going back to the same things, expecting things to be different, expecting my life to be different. And I had to get to a point where I was like, I gotta let some of this stuff go, or I'm never gonna be where I wanna be. A big part of this rebuild for me has been really having the courage to let go of things that I really, really wanted at one point. And trusting that it was okay to let those things go. Trusting that I felt out of place for a reason. Trusting that I felt uncomfortable for a reason. I really had to accept the fact that I had outgrown people. I had to accept the fact that I had outgrown certain things. I had outgrown certain habits. It was time for something new. And me constantly allowing these things and these people back into my life over and over and over again was making me the problem. Now, all those people are not the problem. It's me. Because I keep letting them back in. I keep letting these things back in when I know that it does not work for me. If you want different results, you have to change something. If you want a different life, you have to change something. And that's going to require you to let go of things that you want at the moment, things that you once wanted, things that make you feel comfortable. Number 4, whenever you are rebuilding your life or starting over, you have to redefine the woman you want to be and the life you want to live. Like I said before, different levels, different seasons of your life require different versions of you. And I always talk about intentionality. It's so important to be intentional about what you want in this new season of your life and who you want to be in this new season of your life. If you don't define it first, there's no way you can become or work towards those things. I told y'all how I entered this season and I just felt like I was tired of everything around me. I was tired of everything I was doing. I was tired of all the habits I had formed. I was tired of my career choice, my financial decisions. I was tired of everything. And in order for me to build something new, I had to first decide what that was going to look like for me. So not only did I have to analyze why I was tired of the things I already had and why what I already had was not working for me, but I had to also figure out what would be better, like what would be a more ideal version of my life. And it's so important to do that because then and only then will you be able to say no to anything that does not look like that. That will help you determine what needs to be left behind and what you can bring with you. This is one thing that I am still really working on. There are some things that I'm still kind of unclear on, and it's something that I'm praying about on a daily basis, but it's something that needs to be done. There are a few things, a few people that I know cannot come with me into this next season of my life. So I had to leave them behind. While I'm still figuring out other things, I'm very clear on those things. So this is a great time to do life inventory and figure out what feels out of alignment, whether it be friends, career, habits, self-care. What no longer feels right to you? What makes you feel uncomfortable? What do you feel like you've outgrown? In full transparency, I'll share with y'all something that I am still currently struggling with defining for myself. And I've kind of like shared a little little bit of this in the vlog series, but for those of y'all who didn't watch that, I'll explain anyway. I have been an entrepreneur pretty much my whole entire adult life. Like, I started doing lash extensions when I was in college. I actually was doing hair and makeup throughout high school and the first few years of college, and I was a hairstylist assistant for a while, and then I started doing lash extensions. And by the time I graduated from college, I already had a good amount of clientele that I could possibly live off of. So at that point, when I was finally getting bills, I already had enough money to pay my bills. Like, I'm not your average entrepreneur who starts a business in adulthood and they have to figure out if they're going to leave their 9-to-5 and just live off of the business, how they're going to do that. Like, that wasn't really an issue for me, because by the time I had responsibilities, I already had the clientele. The business was already up and running. And that has been what I've lived off of since that time. So I've been a full-time lash tech for like 8-9 years. I don't know, it's somewhere around there. And for the first time in my life, well, I also make money off content, but like, that's besides the point. For the first time in my life this year, I got to a point where I was like, I don't know if I want to be an entrepreneur anymore. I'm still struggling with it, and I'm like weighing the pros and cons, and I'm constantly thinking about like why I feel the way I feel. And this morning I had this epiphany. I'm like, I don't really know if I want the lack of structure that I feel comes with being an entrepreneur. Like, I kind of want the easy way out at this point in my life. Like, I want not for someone to tell me what to do, but I want to have like a set list of things that I need to do each day. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the same exact thing every day, but the possibilities are endless with entrepreneurship, and there are always so many possible things you could be doing. And that stresses me out. Like, having so many things I could possibly be doing every single day makes me try to cram in a bunch of stuff in one day, and then I end up not really doing anything because I'm so overwhelmed by the fact that I have so much to do. So that's one thing that I feel like has been making me like kind of pull away from entrepreneurship. I also want the stability that comes with having a 9-to-5. I don't know, I'm still stuck on that one. That's still something that I'm praying about. But again, at this stage in your life, you have to do inventory and figure out like what's working for you, what's not working for you, and why that may be. Because sometimes it's not necessarily that you're not meant to be doing something or that you shouldn't be doing something. It's just that there's discomfort around it for some reason, and you have to figure out what's making you uncomfortable and how you can possibly fix that to make that thing work for you. Because I'm not 100% convinced that I'm not supposed to be an entrepreneur. Not only do I have to take care of a home, like cook, clean, and all that other stuff, I have a child to raise. Got to do all that stuff for a child. I have a business to run, content to make. Like, sometimes I even wonder if I want to do content. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. It's like, and also when you're doing this life inventory, you also want to constantly remind yourself that you can release the old script. It's important to note that there was an older version of you who served a purpose, but you're not obligated to stay her. Like, I'm not obligated to be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life just because I've done it for the last 8-9 years. I don't have to stick to that if I don't want to. You can change anything about your life at any moment. And last but not least, it's so important to keep God at the center when you are rebuilding your life. It's important to keep God at the center of your life no matter what phase of life you're in, honestly. But when you're in your rebuilding phase, when you're in your starting over phase, it's really, really important to draw as close to God as possible, because you will feel lost otherwise. This is probably the most important thing. This is probably the one thing that has kept me sane throughout this whole experience. And I talked about this as well in the vlog series, but I realized that personally, I have a habit of drawing closer to God when I'm in these tough times, when I'm at rock bottom, and then once life starts getting a little better, I start to stray away. That doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have a relationship with him at all, because I always have a pretty good relationship with God. But I don't stay as disciplined with my spiritual habits when I'm on the mountain as when I'm in the valley. It's a trick of the enemy. Like, I'm really realizing it's a trick of the enemy to get you to the point where you feel like you don't need God as much as you once did. Yes, we always need him, but let's be real. Sometimes when everything is going well in our lives, we don't feel like we have to be as dependent on him as we do when we're going through. So that's something that I'm currently working on, and I realized that being close to God and really sticking to my spiritual habits helps me to stay on track with everything. It helps me with my discernment. It helps me with making good decisions, making the right decisions. It helps me with figuring out what exactly it is that I want for my life. Because at the end of the day, I don't just want what I want what God wants from me. And people always say, yeah, God will give you the desires of your heart. But nobody wants to talk about the part that says God will give you the desires of your heart when you delight yourself in him. The scripture actually says, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. So God is not just going to give you anything you want. He's going to give you the things that you want as they line up with his will for your life. And the only way to make sure your desires for yourself line up with God's will for your life is if you delight yourself in him. If you are constantly in your word, constantly talking to him, like treating it like you would any other relationship. Again, these are all the things that I have learned, not all the things, but these are some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned in my rebuilding process. So if you are on the same wave right now, if you're in the same season, just know that y'all are in my prayers, because y'all know y'all are my girls and you are not alone. So if you're currently building a better you, a better life, I want you to comment down below and let me know one lesson, one valuable lesson that you have learned during this time that has really helped you to become a better you and to build a better life. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you want to see more of me. We're going to be doing a broadcast channel on Instagram very soon. So if you want to be able to hear from me on a daily basis, make sure you follow me and join the broadcast channel. And of course, like, comment, subscribe on this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.